semua rakan-rakan media ke Kedutaan Palestin untuk sidang media bersama Duta Besar Palestin ke Malaysia, iaitu His Excellency Walid Abu Ali. Okey, sebelum saya menjemput Duta Besar Palestin Walid Abu Ali, saya ingin menjemput dulu Miss Raida untuk membaca press release from the embassy.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A press release, Embassy of the State of Palestine, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. First and foremost, the Embassy of the State of Palestine to Malaysia, on behalf of the State of Palestine, its government and people, has the great honor to extend its sincere appreciation and deep gratitude to His Majesty the King of Malaysia, His Excellency Prime Minister, His Excellency Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Minister of Religious Affairs, the Malaysian Parliament Caucus for Palestine, and the respected Malaysian political parties, for choosing not to meet with silence the ongoing barbarity and criminality of Israeli forces and settlers during the holy months of Ramadan against Palestinian civilians, including the innocent Muslim worshippers at Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in Jerusalem, for not turning the blind eye on the continued dangerous provocations, incitement, and assault at this holy site, arrest and detention of hundreds of civilians, and military airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. The Embassy has the further honor to extend its appreciation and thanks to the esteemed Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia for the contribution amounting $50,000 to Al-Aqsa Mosque through the Ministry of Awqaf and Islamic Affairs of Jordan, and for $44,179 for the Global Peace Mission Home Reconstruction Project in Gaza, and for the $30,000 for the Ministry of Education of Palestine. Once again, Malaysia has proven to be one of the strongest supporters and defenders of the Palestinian cause. With a continued absence of accountability, despite of violation of dozens of the United Nations resolutions, Israel remains undeterred, carrying on with its daily brutal attacks against the Palestinian people, escalating its violence, punishment, and threats against them under very possible illegal and racist causes. By now, it's more clear than ever, Israel will never stop its crimes. At this moment, Israeli politicians and military commanders are not seeking to de-escalate, despite of the international community's warning about the dangerous critical situation in Palestine. On the contrary, they are threatening more violence and punishment, mobilizing army forces and inciting their terrorist settlers, preparing for more aggressions against the defenseless Palestinians. The State of Palestine reaffirms that Israel, its occupation forces, and terrorist settlers have no sovereignty whatsoever over any part of Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, and their aggression against it is an egregious assault on the basic right of the Palestinians who have the absolute right to freely pray at their holy sites in the city, and including at Al-Aqsa Mosque. Therefore, the State of Palestine will spare no effort to attain justice for the Palestinian people and their inalienable human rights, including the return, and to live as a free people in peace and security in their homeland. Palestine will work in close proximity with all peace and freedom-loving nations of the world to join its just struggle and to act forthwith to uphold their charter obligations and all other relevant obligations under international law. It is time for responsible action by all states and organizations to hold Israel accountable and to undertake concrete measures aimed to decolonization and dismantlement of apartheid. For as long as this illegal colonial occupation and apartheid regime exist, there will never be peace. Viva Palestine, viva Malaysia. You are very welcomed at the Embassy of the State of Palestine, and you are very welcome to raise any kind of question and inquiry related to this topic. And His Excellency, Ambassador Walid Abu Ali, will be more than happy to answer all your questions. Ambassador.
Thank you, Raida. Again, I do welcome you all. On behalf of the Palestinian Embassy and the Palestinian people, we are trying just to continue our efforts to show our ongoing support and solidarity from Malaysia to our Palestinian people who are continue to face the Israeli state terrorism carried out by the present Israeli government led by Benjamin Netanyahu and his cabinet. This government who continued to violate the international law, continued to carry out a crime witnessed by the international community, witnessed by everybody, and they have absolutely no limit to stop their aggression and their violation against the innocent Palestinian people when they invaded Al-Masjid Al-Qibli and Al-Aqsa Mosque, when they had destroyed and damaged the whole mosque, and they pushed and forced all the Palestinian elderly people, innocent women and children, to leave the mosque by force through the military force of the Israeli police and the Israeli army. And unfortunately, the international community witnessed that. All Arab Ummah and the Muslim Ummah witnessed that. As Palestinians, all we are getting is to condemn what the Israelis are doing. I think the time should be enough to take an action practically against this Israeli government towards the violation of the international law. All human rights institutions, all international representatives in Palestine witness on a daily basis the Israeli violation of the international law. And for your knowledge, let me just share with you with the last 2 Palestinians shot dead by the Israelis on the city of Nablus just day before yesterday. The number of Palestinians who were shot dead reached up 100. So 100 Palestinians being shot dead by the Israeli army since January of 2023. Of course, the Israeli settlers, the Israeli army continue to act on violating and using the army against innocent civilians from north to south. 2 million Palestinians continue to be under siege in Gaza. During the holy month of Ramadan, Palestinians were not allowed in certain categories, certain ages, to reach Al-Aqsa Mosque for the Taraweeh prayer, which is a tradition in our culture, where all Palestinians from north to south, from east to west, they will go to Al-Quds, go to Al-Aqsa Mosque to offer the Ramadan special praying, Salat al-Taraweeh. Again, on behalf of the embassy, on behalf of our community here, I must share with you how proud we are. This is my 5th Ramadan in Malaysia. But for the first time, Malaysia, in all levels, starting from His Majesty, the King, who condemned the Israeli crime, the Prime Minister who tweeted on his account and condemned the Israeli violation, Deputy Prime Minister with AMNO as a political party, They condemned the Israeli crime. The minister in the Prime Minister's office for the religious affairs, in a written statement as well, had condemned many of the political parties. Of course, Wisma Putra, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the message was clear. For the first time, all levels of Malaysian officials condemned, as well as the people of Malaysia, who shown their support and solidarity to the Palestinian cause. And on behalf of Palestine and the Palestinians, I highly appreciate what Malaysia is doing to continue its support. I don't know if any of you were in Wisma Putra last night, and they witnessed the contribution which was handed over by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dato Sri Zamri Abdul Qadir. I'm trying to remember the last name. I know the first name, but I'm trying to remember the last name. Who handed over 3 checks to Palestine, one for Al-Aqsa Mosque, and it was handed over to the Jordanian ambassador through the Hashemite Fund in Amman. This money will go direct to Al-Aqsa Mosque, inshallah. And another 2 checks, one has been handed over to the solar system for 2 schools in Palestine through the Ministry of Education in Palestine, and another check with 44 plus will be handed over through the Malaysian Embassy in Amman to Global Peace for the reconstruction of the damaged houses which was struck by the Israeli forces in Gaza. Again, I highly appreciate you being here in Palestinian Embassy, and the floor is open for any questions that any of you have. Thank you for being with us today. Any questions?
I'm Dawn from the District Times. We have a lot of nation leaders condemning the Israel acts on the Palestinians, and there were also calls for the government to work with OIC and the United Nations to stop the violence. So what is your call to the Malaysian government?
Just, we do ask Malaysia government to continue do what they are doing. I know Malaysia can play a role regionally and internationally. Malaysia can affect many of the Asian countries in the region to show their support and solidarity to Palestine. Through OIC and through United Nations, Malaysia always been speaking loudly and clearly about their support to the Palestinian cause. We never questioned Malaysians' position towards supporting Palestine, but I do ask the Malaysian government to put pressure on the neighboring countries within the Asian countries and within the friendly countries with Malaysia, just to share their support and to recognize Palestine as a state and to upgrade the representation of Palestine in these countries.
His Excellency, the status quo of Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, I believe is what else can be done for the global community or any powerful countries in order to heightening the status quo?
The size of Al-Aqsa Mosque is 144,000 square meters. This is this territory is included all as Aqsa Mosque. The Israelis are trying to change the geography of Al-Aqsa Mosque, and they're trying to do what they had done in Al-Haram al-Ibrahimi in Hebron, which is absolutely the responsibility of the whole Muslim Ummah, OIC country, the United Nations, the Security Council, to make sure that the 144,000 square meters are occupied territory. So the Israelis have absolutely no right to change this geography. This is a Muslim territory, and the Israelis have absolutely no right. Of course, let me share with you a matter here in Malaysia for the first time. We have a Malaysian NGO, My Aqsa. My Aqsa had sponsored a case against the Israeli government in the ICC and defending Palestine and the Palestinian, defending Al-Quds, and trying their best through this case raised and sponsored by them against Israel, to show their support. This initiative, for the first time ever, being taken through any OIC members, through any OIC country. And the issue was discussed on the last OIC meeting in Jeddah, when the Deputy Prime Minister at that time, Wan Aziza, was there, and the case of My Aqsa was became known to all members of OIC countries. So what we can look for to continue our contacts, to continue our efforts, to make sure that the 144,000 square meters must remain as a Muslim territory, and the Israelis have absolutely no right to do any changes there.
Allies of Israel also have a role to play, not to allow Israel to continue claiming the territory, but in the end it's gone.
Well, my dear, it's a very sensitive question that you asked. Now, we know the Israeli support, basically from the United States of America and from the Europeans, or some of the European countries. Without this support, Israel will never survive. Unfortunately, they witness on a daily basis what the Israelis are doing. Hundreds of resolutions were taken against Israel within the United Nations, within the Security Council. Practically nothing has been implemented. And we as Palestinians ask the question, if the international community managed to take sanctions against Russia regarding what's happening in Ukraine, why for 7 decades the international community never been serious to take an action against Israel towards what they are doing? So it is the responsibility of those who coalesce with Israel, to those who support Israel, to stop unfairness and be fair with the Palestinians for once, and just consider Palestinians have been, victims of the double standards. We as Palestinians look for the international community to play a positive role in treating us similar to any other nation around the globe.
Are there any specific motive why Zionists violate the Al-Aqsa Mosque specifically in Ramadan every year?
Well, they claim that during the month of Ramadan, thousands or hundreds of thousands of Palestinians go to Al-Aqsa Mosque, and that go against the Israeli policy towards evacuating the holy city of Al-Quds. This is what they don't want. They try to put all obstacles to avoid Palestinians to go to Al-Aqsa Mosque. And from our perspective, our struggle includes, our struggle in Al-Aqsa Mosque, because we believe Israel will never enjoy peace, will never enjoy any stability in the region without recognizing the Palestinian rights in having Al-Quds as its capital, and Al-Quds without Al-Aqsa Mosque means nothing. So we believe that our struggle must be recognized by the international community, and if the Israelis want to enjoy peace, they must recognize our rights towards having Al-Aqsa Mosque and Al-Quds as the capital of an independent Palestinian state. Last question. Well, again, thank you very much.
One question.
Yes, please.
As you know, after the incident happened in the Al-Aqsa Mosque, I think people in Malaysia are very concerned and very dangerous enough to collect some donations to Al-Aqsa because of something happened there or there. So could you please advise the Malaysian first on how actually the way, to really assist Al-Aqsa Mosque, to really donate to Al-Aqsa Mosque? And are there anybody, that being authorized, on behalf of the Al-Aqsa to collect any donation here?
Thank you very much. Very important question. My message to all Malaysians, No one can question the support of Malaysians, the contribution of Malaysians to Palestine, to the Palestinians, to Al-Quds, and to Al-Aqsa Mosque. And during the last 5 years, I tried to emphasize that any contribution that needs to be shared to Al-Aqsa, to Gaza, to the West Bank, to any Palestinians, we had reactivated a bank account in West Maputra, officially, for transparency. We never asked to contribute to the embassy or through the embassy. There is a bank account in West Maputra. This bank account represents all Malaysians. Any contribution can go through this bank account through West Maputra. And this money will be directed immediately to the fund which is sponsored by our partners in the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. There is an account for Al-Aqsa Mosque in Amman, the capital of Jordan, the Hashemite Fund, it's called, chaired by the cousin of King Abdullah, Prince Ghazi, and they are responsible to make sure that any contribution, not just from Malaysia, from any other country, goes to Al-Aqsa Mosque. Unfortunately, Al-Aqsa Mosque has been misused and mismanaged in Malaysia. There are some individuals and sometimes institutions. They raise funds on behalf of Al-Quds, on behalf of Al-Aqsa Mosque, and this money never reach. It's the rights of all Malaysians to make sure that their contribution has reached its destination. And I do ask and encourage all Malaysians. No one can question their contribution, but they need to know, where does their money go to? Who is the beneficiary? Who benefit out of the contribution of Malaysians? So, as far as I can say, there is a bank account in West Maputra, there is a bank account in Amman, Jordan. Through the Malaysian embassy in Amman, Jordan, you can contribute. Through the West Maputra, the foreign ministry in Malaysia, you can contribute. Of course, there are so many NGOs, and I'm not trying to interfere with the NGOs. I mean, functions, they can do whatever they want to do, but in terms of contribution to Al-Aqsa or to Al-Quds, it can only go through West Maputra, through the foreign ministry, and through the bank account of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, which is responsible for Al-Aqsa Mosque. Are we done?
But the NGOs that had passed, the Islamist Party passed, they raised contributions for the cause. Has it been channeled to the embassy in any way, or?
You can ask them. I have no comment.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We are done. Thank you again, and we really appreciate. It's Ramadan. Otherwise, we would host you for refreshments. But I wish you all a happy Eid. We are very close to Eid al-Fitr. We will have a function in the embassy. We will have an open house. We will let you know, inshallah, immediately after Eid. We will be more than happy to host you, and we want you to try the Palestinian cuisine, inshallah, as soon as we have the open house and we have the raya. Thank you again, and Ramadan Mubarak. Let me share with you this Palestinian muffler, and we will go around one by one. Continue on the right. So last but not least. All right. Anybody else? We miss anybody?
We will share them with them. Yeah, we will do email and take from all their mailing list and their mobile number, all mobile number and print paper.
Anybody want a picture? Welcome. Anybody else?
Siapa punya handphone ni? Handphone.
Which mobile is this?
Kejap.
Suruh lah.
Ada.
Ya, ni. Posisi.
All right. Yes, please.